You know what's the worst thing in the world? And I think that if we could really just gather as a species and get rid of it, we would be better off as humanity. Humidity. If you live in a place that's humid, I'm sorry for you. You should feel sad. Welcome to Scion, Godsend. I am your story guide for today, Gilbert Ramos. I have no announcements save for a quick reminder that Onyx Con, the virtual con, is coming up swifter and swifter. It is near the end of May. We're in May, right? Right, guys? We're in... Cool. Almost confuse it with March. That's the kind of person I am. It's nearing the end of May. June 10th through June 12th is when Onyx will be going on. You can follow the lovely people over at Onyx Path on their Twitch, twitch.tv, Twitter. Twitter is where you get the information. Twitter.com/the Onyx Path. You can follow them at Onyx Path, where you get the schedule and all the things that I can't properly convey to you given the announcement time that I have. Otherwise, we'll be here for 20 minutes. With that being said, I have wasted enough of your time. I know what you're really here for. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Let's go ahead and meet our Scions, shall we?
Hey guys, Charles here. Just trying to clean up some spilled monster right now. Gonna have a good session. Still meeting up with Royal Gray. Looking forward to seeing how this wraps up. And yeah.
Hi guys, I'm gonna have to break character for a moment here because he brought up humidity, and that is my greatest achievement, my gift to humanity. do not blaspheme against me. Anyways, back into character. I'm Gregor DEWITT. I'm just, your average ordinary sorcerer. Nothing special about me. Ignore the little symbol wherever it is.
Hello. Yeah, I'm MAJIN. Nothing special to say. Bye.
I am Royal Gray, the reincarnated Gray Eminence, the Grand Ruler Maker, never sung but nonetheless elementally essential, here to guide these poor wayward souls, hopefully on the pursuit of their next quest.
Well said, well said. Gregor, have you never watched an episode of Scion Godsend? Did you not know where your symbol is?
I have forgotten. If you'll recall, I wasn't here last session.
Indeed. We have a deal, you and I. You're not allowed to forget. You are my memory. With that being said, let's jump into today's episode of Scion Godsend. You can't remember what you weren't there for, though, so Gregor, you are relieved of your duties of the recap today. We have
Yay.
3 individuals we could choose from. I don't necessarily want to put it on our guest, Charles MAJIN, if you would kindly volunteer one of you.
Can we vote?
Let's see. You want to do it together?
Sure.
Cool. What was it? We started off getting bombarded by benevolence at a gas station, right?
A little bit further back than that, you guys escaped the heirs dropping a parking structure on them.
Oh yeah, that was a thing that happened. Then we went to the Gentleman's Club.
Yeah, we went to a gentleman's club. We got struck by lightning. Made some friends with a god of sexiness.
What was her name? Like something?
It was something. Somewhere. Yeah.
And then from there we went to Nevada, out on the outskirts of Vegas. We got bombarded with benevolence from a mysterious benefactor, a gift basket, and a letter with money and room keys, and Maurice. Then we went back to the hotel. I called up the girl from the first episode, second episode. You won a race with Hermes. I won $400,000, had a date, and then
don't forget paintball.
We had a meeting with Royal Gray, right?
Yeah, you paintball some people,
including the police.
It was very mafioso type stuff with Marcel, driving us around, and Yeah, it was,
Marcel, not Maurice.
yeah. Gregor was, paranoid as usual, and was like, we got to investigate these guys. And of course, Charles and I took advantage of the hospitality and had some fun. And then the following afternoon, met Mr. Gray, Royal Gray. Amazing apartment, condo, mansion. I don't know. It's weird. That shit went up fucking floors. Bunch of relics, bunch of old cool stuff, and retro stuff, and nachos and drinks. Yeah. And we had a sit down talk, where we're at now. And he gave us something to think on. So yeah.
I hesitate to ask, but I truly must know. Do you remember any context of the conversation?
Are we going to embrace destiny?
Fair.
Right?
Absolutely fair.
Kinda.
Along the lines of like,
I mean, that's
what are we doing now?
nailed it.
Summary, very well done. With that being said, I'll fill in some holes because he has achieved the objective in a very strange roundabout way. Indeed, there was a race with Hermes. Indeed, this mysterious driver Marcel, sent by the currently at the time unknown Royal Grey, delivered them to a lavish hotel room, giving them a black card, sort of with one of those fabled cards that doesn't necessarily have a spending limit, or if it does, it's very difficult to achieve. In addition to this, we had Gregor, who was sort of suspicious of the whole thing, spent a lot of his time investigating, trying to figure out who this mysterious benefactor was. After kind of coming up dead ends on, who this driver may be connected to, there's nothing to tug on, Gregor. You decided that you were going to investigate the driver, Marcel, and see if there was anything that would lead you to any other information. So, with that being said, let's catch up with you, Gregor. You're never allowed to be without us again. We need your memory always. Gregor, let's rewind time just a bit. I want to get your a peek into your mind. Marcel arrived to you guys at the first gas station that you guys stopped at near Vegas, just outside, near Henderson. Coming with a basket of fruits, champagne, and this black card, a letter that you will find in the Discord, I'm sure. What was the mindset on that moment, inviting you to this lavish experience in Las Vegas, unnamed benefactor, mysterious driver?
That's a trap.
We thought as much.
That's a trap.
Like
that.
Isn't that like what you said verbatim? I feel like that's what you said.
I think that's exactly what I said. I'm getting good at this, guys. Excellent. Much to the chagrin of yourself, your companions insisted that they take up on some of the hospitality. They were going to be in Vegas for some time anyway. Might as well wait for things to blow over in Arizona, keep some eyes off them. And then they proceeded to do exactly the opposite. They took Marcel and the limousine while you kind of investigated. This is within the first evening. They took the limousine and Marcel and kind of... It sounds like from what the reports on the news are, there were two individuals in a limousine taking pot shots at tourists with paintball guns from the top side of a limousine. They were... The news story kind of cut off whenever the police were having a conversation with Marcel. You saw this on the news. News cameras kind of cut off after someone had whispered off screen that everything was going to be fine. That this is business of some sort. No longer a threat, no longer a problem for Las Vegas. Looks like the police kind of shook hands with MAJIN and Charles and took a pot shot themselves, and then took a selfie, and then departed. This same evening, this very same evening, this night of partying, it seems, you were on the Las Vegas Strip kind of digging into, okay, he must be a Las Vegas native, or maybe Marcel is, talking to the seedy underbelly. Much like New York, there are individuals that kind of wander the streets and do not shady things, but some unscrupulous things. There are certain cars that people hand out with scantily clad individuals on them for no reason whatsoever. If you walk the Las Vegas Strip, you can collect them like Pokemon cards. It's very strange. So you're talking to these individuals, and then suddenly the strip changes. People are rushing and moving. A stage is being set up in the center. The partition where cars pass one another. You can see Ozzy Osbourne getting ready to play a set. In addition to this, all screens are changing now to static. You immediately, your danger sense kind of goes off, and you're ready. You have your hand kind of hovering over the weapon. Very quickly, your fear of danger is not necessarily quelled, but at least lessened. All of the screens show MAJIN on his bike next to an individual. Can only be described wearing the traditional Greek clothing, the sort of flowing, sort of toga-like thing. See golden wreath around his head, topped by a metal helmet and winged sandals. You recognize the individual from all the iconography around the world, from many business ventures. Hermes, god of speed, journeys, travel, commerce, many different things. Ready to race MAJIN. There is a moment in this moment I'd like to get your thoughts.
It's not surprise, but it is disappointment, because I anticipate a horrid loss, since he is challenging the god of being quick.
Indeed. But you see on the screens as you kind of watch, this is kind of taken over the Las Vegas Strip. MAJIN, if you would like to take some dramatic flair, take some narrative control, what did it look like when you activated a Varga? If it looked like anything.
You know, I just looked like a badass immediately. Anybody who thought I wasn't a badass now knew I was a badass. Yeah.
MAJIN seems to cut a more divine figure on his bike. Doesn't necessarily, stand straighter or anything like that, but there's a confidence to him. There's a shimmer that doesn't really, isn't properly captured. You're sure that it would be different in person. There's a shimmer about him on those TV screens. Hermes himself as well looks a bit diminished. He looks a bit tired. And you think maybe there might be a chance. Indeed, the race is just a simple drag strip along the length of the Las Vegas Strip. You can't help but watch. It's on every screen. It's everywhere you turn around. No one was willing to answer your questions. Hermes is racing. The race concludes. The results take minutes to get. And in those minutes, that sinking feeling, you wonder how you'll console him when he lost his Darkon Windhorse. It is finally revealed that Hermes has lost. MAJIN is the successor. And as such, you see on the screen, Hermes makes a big speech inviting MAJIN to speak. He kind of stumbles over his words a bit. But you know that MAJIN's legend has grown. You also see Hermes pass something off to him as the news broadcaster is taking to the screen, giving details and information. You see in the background, Hermes gifts MAJIN a pair of winged sandals. We fast forward to the next day. Morning or afternoon, your friends find you after a long night of partying and sleeping wherever they wound up. They encounter you. What do they find you doing in this moment?
Well, still suspicious of everything that's happened. Given that I assume this is a trap, I'm going to assume that, or I would probably presume that we're being set up for something. Oh, you won a race with Hermes. Mysterious benefactor might have helped in some way. Oh, you've got this card. Well, now you owe us money. So,
In the midst of your investigation, then,
yeah.
they explain to you that they're going to go out and enjoy the rest of the day, that you should really cut loose and, just enjoy the time that you have. It may be a trap, but they'll deal with that when the time comes.
That's not the best way to handle traps, bud. That's like, I know this hallway is trapped, but I'll deal with it once I spring all the traps.
They quickly call you a spoil sport and a stick in the mud and depart from your presence, off to enjoy whatever activities they enjoy next. Gregor, in this moment, I need you to make a sort of investigation check. Let's do your detective stuff. Let's see what you can uncover about this mysterious benefactor and his driver. His driver is your biggest link. You know his name is Marcel. He's offered to drive you multiple times. He seems nice enough.
Okay. I usually use my integrity for this. Cunning integrity. Only 2 successes.
Things that pop up with 2 successes are relatively open to the public.
Yeah.
You pull on contacts in the police force. You did not successfully go through the academy, but you have many friends that did and spread themselves away from New York all throughout the country. Information that you pull: full name is Lucas Marcel Goldsmith. He's a retired and highly decorated Navy SEAL with what looks to be, and you imagine this number may be exaggerated, but it is in official records, over 100 confirmed kills on official missions. Unofficial missions, difficult to come by, classified, nothing that you would be able to get with 2 successes. Was forced into retirement due to a life-threatening injury, medically discharged, had his heart replaced 80% artificial heart. So there must be something interesting about that. You draw the conclusion that that's an item of note, a possible thread you could pull. But your investigation is not over just yet, Gregor. This is not the only thing that you were able to uncover. Another check, if you would like, as the day progresses, as we catch up to current time.
Sure. Three successes.
Understood. I fall back on something I must ask Royal. With Gregor's connections and everything, with 3 successes, I have to ask the question. I don't believe it's the case, but I want to verify. Does Marcel have a criminal record?
No. And if he had, it had been expunged. But what I will say is, and as we said it during the last session when Marcel brought it to my attention that our curious friend was poking around, that I wanted a number of doors open to him, to either belay concerns or even present him with an opportunity to ask pertinent questions. So, in many ways, my world is open to him as far as the kind of the spread is concerned, if that makes sense.
Understood. With that being said, a fresh reminder, I appreciate that. Gregor, information starts to flow more freely. You may even be able to catch this. We'll make a separate roll for that as well. I would imagine insight, whatever you would like. If you'd like to make that roll now.
I would, though. You think you're mixing your systems again.
I may be doing just that. If that is the case. So, I'll request a roll. Kind of just your standard investigation pool, integrity and whatever you would like.
Okay. We'll do the standard investigation pool, integrity cunning. Those two. 4.
Counting up, I like it. It's with 4 successes. It's uncommon that information suddenly becomes this free. I wouldn't say it's necessarily suspicious. It's perhaps you are pulling on the right threads. It is, all in all, not confirming your suspicions that something is up, and not confirming your suspicions that this is a dangerous man and he works for a dangerous man. And perhaps that is the part that is frustrating you, is that you are so sure that there is a problem here. Perhaps that's the issue. But what you do find as you continue on, at some point around 2017, Lucas Marcel Goldsmith reemerged in Los Angeles. He kind of went off the grid for a while, as many veterans do after being discharged suddenly and likely unwillingly. He reemerged in Los Angeles. Part that is interesting, with a fresh credit score, verifiable income, employment under the Gray Company, which appears to be an international conglomerate of financial consulting firms, operating independently and decentralized, with no home office, yet yielding almost over 1,500 employees worldwide. You dig into another thread, the Gray Company, another thread you can pull, another lead, another path, another check, please.
All right. Let's see if patterns continue. Four. That's a 10, please. Hey, 5.
Cursed dice. Cursed dice. You tug on the arm of the Gray Company. You start to gather information on this conglomerate. It does indeed have a publication arm. That's sort of, I would say, Royal, correct me if I'm wrong, not the largest arm, but a more public, more prominent.
It's the media arm, yeah.
Publication arm of the Gray Company produces a number of different print, online, video, news, entertainment, and basically every form of media. In a lot of ways, it feels propagandistic. It's not really not for any particular political or economic bloc. Rather, it's the network of self-improvement, business, fitness, wealth management, acquisition, technology, things of this. It's sort of promoting, and Royal, at any point you can always feel free to cut in. It's sort of promoting self-betterment, it feels like, in every sense of the word, in every form of media. The most popular thing that it has produced is the book Merciless. It's the flagship title of the Gray Company's publication arm, Scale Press Inc. Another arm you may tug, another thread you may pull. It's been translated into every known language in the world. Distributed for free in many markets. While the soft and hardcover publications in the US and EU are the most visible, distribution model is almost incalculable. With Ravenous, the hunger for more demanding outrageous prices in printed form on resale sites and book auctions.
You said their total employees were 1,500?
Correct. Wait.
Doing all this with 1,500 people?
It would appear that way.
That's impressive. That's not a lot of people to be as big as they are. Interesting.
With this final check made as well, I'll detail some stuff you find. You dig into the Gray Company more so. The Board of Executives of the Gray Company, as listed in any official capacity, are clearly operating. Well, stop me if I'm getting into this. I've mixed up a few bit of my notes.
You're fine.
Excellent. Verbatim. The board of executives of the Gray Company are listed in any official capacity are clearly operating aliases. Buried behind walls of front organizations and shell companies, seemingly infinitely knotted and impossible to unravel. What can be deduced is that there are 9 of them at any given time. But the names shift frequently, like with the seasons. A name that comes up in various capacities in various bits of this investigation. A consultant, Mr. Gray. Assumed to be, you automatically assume this to be an alias with everything that you've uncovered so far. It's been known to come into difficult negotiation to close deals, to solve problems, generally sway decisions of business powerhouses. Though it is assumed that Mr. Gray isn't necessarily one person. It could possibly be a collective of people. This is likely a title that is passed around and sort of used as an alias by a conglomerate of individuals. As a collective of people operating as specialists and experts in the industries of question. No recorded appearance or identity of Mr. Gray has been provided. This is the most you can get from your investigations.
All right. Sorry, I'm just adding things to my notes.
Not a problem. Anything you need me to detail, I can pop into the chat as well.
I got most of what you guys said.
Understood.
Need to organize my notes. Become subcategory. Move that stuff out of the Mr. Gray over to his own category. Sorry. I'm talking out loud.
Not a worry.
Boom. Boom. Okay.
Royal, I'm going to send you something. Feel free to reply. We'll keep that off to the side. Gregor, you find yourself returning to your hotel room, which has been provided by this mysterious benefactor. Gathering your notes and things. With some of the shadiness of this all, this kind of helps confirm, like, this isn't what it seems. There's a flare, a passing thought. I won't force you to do anything, but there's a passing thought of you have been separated from your friends for some time. You don't know where exactly they are. What would you like to do?
First things first, check the news. They seem to have gone on the news several times already. Did they see if they broke anything? Second thing second, time to track them down. They stand out. It's not going to be that difficult, I imagine. Plus, I can literally be like, did you see that guy who raised Hermes yesterday? Is he around?
Indeed. Sort of relying on the crowds of people.
Yeah.
It's, people are looking for MAJIN. People recognize MAJIN, and they point him out, like, yeah, he was just here. No, he grabbed food from that cart earlier, and was with his friend. You do recall that Charles, in his efforts to try to make you like relax and just come out with them, did mention that he was going to have I'm losing the word, not intern, person at the front desk, in New York, Ted Yuen's old Charles, if you know the number, secretary. Thank you. That organization's company flown out for a date.
Airport then?
Airport. You gather the flights from New York, kind of poking about. It's I do have a question as well. You're bouncing around in this particular moment. It is important. You taking the van, or Marcel has made himself available to you. He says that your friends are off on their own, that they dismissed him for the evening. Is there anything you would like from anywhere you'd like him to take you?
I'm not using his services.
Understood.
I don't trust him. He vanished. You didn't specify the amount of years. but he was gone until 2017. Anything could have happened there.
Indeed. So you go off and search for your friends.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found at the airport, Gregor. Where next?
Okay. Well, he said he was taking her on a date, and it's Charles. His idea of a date is McDonald's, so I don't know how many McDonald's there are in this city, but that's gonna be a problem.
There are so many McDonald's in Las Vegas. I cannot even begin to describe to you.
Yeah, so that's probably his idea of a fancy date at that. So, I'm honestly at this point, tugging this thread's gonna be too hard. I'm gonna have MAJIN's gonna be easier to find.
MAJIN made no comment of his activities.
Yes, but he's also the talk of the town right now.
Indeed, is the talk of the town.
And people talk. So all I gotta do is walk up to people and be like, "Did you see that guy at Hermes yesterday? That was insane. That was insane. Yada yada." And then play it off like try to move them into a direction of, yeah, I saw him over there.
Let's do a social roll.
All right.
Let's just call this. You can either choose between presence or manipulation. However you'd like to. You can. I would lean more toward manipulation with the way you're describing
100%
this.
manipulation. This is.
By all means, manipulation. Whatever skill you feel would be prevalent for this.
Trying to get people to reveal things. What was it? Is it? Hold on, because my initial thought is integrity, because that's the one about getting the truth out of people. Yeah.
I could see persuasion. Integrity,
yeah,
culture, perhaps.
I'll do integrity, I'll do integrity, and hope to goodness. It's 10. That's another 10. That's another 10. That's a 3. So that's 6. Stop making me roll dice on these checks.
Cursed dice.
It's gonna
6.
reset on me.
6 successes. You get a lot of people that claim to have seen MAJIN and claim to be best friends with him and things like that.
Yeah.
You eventually gather that the best way to get a hold of MAJIN is to contact the motorcycle scene, the clubs of Las Vegas. Now, I won't be detailing any real clubs, as I'm sure some of my friends would be pretty irritated with the public outcry. But you do encounter some of these individuals. You gather that MAJIN has been trying to lie low after this. Popularity and the fame is kind of pressing. You gather that he has hired, correct me if I'm wrong, MAJIN, you took time to kind of gather personal security.
He was gifted.
That's
they were
right.
provided.
It was you. Yes. He's been spotted with security. They wouldn't know that it was provided. He appears to have gathered personal security. His personal security that has been tailing MAJIN and kind of keeping people away from him hasn't left the hotel.
That seems out of character for him.
I would say so.
He's usually not the kind of person to do that.
As I said, the personal security has not left the hotel.
They are personal security, then that would make sense that they would try to follow him, but he's also not the kind of person to do that. However, they might have an inkling of where he could have gone and trying to look for him if he ditched him. I'll be honest, I'm kind of jumping to the conclusion that they aren't personal security. Sure, let's go confront the personal security.
Understood. You do this, driving the van. Here you find... well, I'll give you some artistic liberty with this, some narrative control if you'd like. What do these security individuals look like?
I mean, Marcel would have hired them, so he runs the show there. If they're present and his services have been dismissed, then he'd be there as well. So,
pretty nondescript and discreet. Individuals that are indeed larger. No identifiable markings, no tattoos or piercings or anything like that. These look like people that you would just kind of pass in a crowd. Streets of Las Vegas are full of interesting folk. These do not look like interesting folk. But here you find Marcel kind of laughing. It looks like they've just shooting the shit, really. Marcel sees you kind of approach. I'm assuming you're ready to confront them. You can... What is body language giving off right now, Gregor?
Oh, it would be giving off nothing of the sort. As far as I don't want to if they... I'm at the point where I think, oh, my friends have vanished. There's a bunch. They're trying to lay low, but also these guys were following them. Where this is the trap. The trap was sprung on them. I'm not trying to get the trap sprung on myself right now.
Makes sense.
So I'll just be like, hey, where are they at?
Marcel greets you. Mr. DeWitt, have you been enjoying your time in Las Vegas?
It's a city.
One of the gems of the world, I'm told.
I feel like that's a local slogan only, because I've never heard that.
Maybe. What can I help you with?
Oh, I was just looking to catch up with my friends.
Oh, they didn't let you know they were going to be out and about?
Oh, no, they told me they were going to be out, but they didn't tell me where. And other than a vague "I'm going on a date," as such. Yeah, and given that you guys are the security team that was hired.
Well, from what I can understand, Charles's date was very successful. Give him my congratulations. If that is proper, I'm not entirely sure. But I can take you to them if you'd like.
I don't believe you, but okay.
Kind of smiles.
He's not good with women. I don't believe you.
He gives a nod at the security team. They kind of follow alongside Marcel as he leads you into the hotel. Through the elevator, up a few stories. Gray, again, take some narrative control. What does Gregor encounter walking into this space?
Well, so once they go up to the same floor that the guest rooms were on, Marcel would lead him to the room across the hall, essentially, that is relatively sparsely decorated. There's likely still a monkey there.
You see Chim Chim chilling,
who has devoured the cheese tray and likely any remaining fruit that was available. I'm guessing.
Without a doubt. Chim Chim greets you fondly.
Yeah, wave Chim Chim over.
Hops over to you. Continue, Gray.
Yeah, let him get on my shoulder.
This
is very concerning, because if Charles doesn't have Chim Chim, Charles is lost.
At which point Marcel would probably let him know that the reason that Chim Chim wasn't with them was because it would be relatively uncomfortable for him to do so. But if he is insistent on bringing him, then he's not going to stop him. And then Marcel would open essentially the office door of that apartment, which would lead into darkness, like zero light, no stars, just a vacuum of blackness, where he would invite him to walk through.
Chim Chim's still on your shoulder. Marcel has made it very clear that Chim Chim it would be uncomfortable for him. Gregor, I hazard to guess this is a lot of it setting off your danger sense.
All of it's setting off my danger sense.
Marcel gestures and says, your friends are just through there. I can mind Chim Chim if you'd like. Entirely up to you.
What's the positioning of the guards right now?
Well, they'd be outside. They wouldn't have even bothered coming in.
They aren't
All right.
in this space.
All right. I have no way of... I could blast it. Well, it's a high-rise, presumably bulletproof glass. Getting out escape isn't really an option, but there's only one person in here. Okay. Shakes head. Not sure I can just blindly walk into an empty black room of nothingness.
I can escort you if you'd like. Go first if that would make you more comfortable.
Why not just turn the lights on?
I don't think you understand exactly what this space is.
No, I think I do, and you saying that confirms that I do.
If I understand, this is likely very uncomfortable. If you would like to wait here, I can...
It's suspicious as hell.
I can see if I can retrieve them for you if you'd like. Though, you will likely... It's not my place to speak for my benefactor. I can see if I can retrieve them for a moment if you'd like.
Yeah, go do that.
I'll be right with you, Mr. DeWitt. Please excuse me.
All right. I'm going to try to position myself around the furniture.
Understood.
So if either those guards there get a signal saying take them out, or if some sort of horrible monstrosity comes through that portal,
Mr. DeWitt, question. So you ready for this portal? Position yourself behind the furniture. You can, of course, choose to block the door if you'd like, the main entrance, to keep Scotty from...
He said it was sparsely furnished, which implies to me the best I've got is like a recliner.
Oh, there's like a full, and when I say sparsely, I mean like it's a full-blown penthouse, like it's a luxury space, but there's not a whole lot of personal like accoutrement. It's just looks like a penthouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Saying sparsely furnished made me think, oh, there's a recliner in this room.
No. I just meant like there's no personal FX besides the cheese tray, which looks strangely out of place because it looks like it's from Walmart. But
okay. In which case, probably nothing directly by the door. No convenient bookshelf that I could just kick over.
I seem to recall
also
some
block the door would be
low-seated couches. Am I misremembering that?
Yeah, there were couches.
You have some couches surrounding the little table that has the cheese tray.
My concern is that they're still out there, and if this is the trap and they start hearing me move furniture, I'm not going to get to block the door. That's why I was thinking if there was something right there, I could block the door in one move, then there's a difference. But if there's not, since there's not...
I mean,
there's probably a coat rack.
Use a coat rack.
Actually, is there a normal chair?
I imagine there would be. Like I said,
okay. Well, physics of a triangle.
What you see all the time in movies.
It's gonna buy me like a second.
We get a shot of Gregor kind of pacing, looking, assessing the room, kind of doing the whole the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock thing, kind of assessing each item of furniture, kind of weighing the couch, kind of lifting it just gingerly, slowly, making sure there's no noise. Chim Chim kind of watching, a little bit confused. Finally, Gregor takes a chair, kind of wedges it up rather slowly. Chim Chim again still watching, a little bit confused, kind of munching on a cracker. We fade from this scene back into the meeting with Charles, MAJIN, and Royal Gray. Your scene, gentlemen.
I had just brought them drinks and told them that they are at this point in their journeys likely going to be able to make various choices, and that as the reincarnation of the Gray Eminence, that I am well within my purview to assist them with achieving their potential, as it is very much the essence of my existence to do so. But I guess I will follow it up with a concern that we may have to do what is necessary to abate concerns by my kin that you are a threat to their existence.
The expertly spoken, nearly verbatim, ending note you kind of ended on was an allusion to the choices that they may have to make, and that if they are able to free themselves, willing to free themselves from their divine patrons, is that a choice that they would make?
Not necessarily free themselves, more acting on their own, knowing that they are capable and have been chosen to utilize their power, but they are not slaves.
Correct.
They are not bound in essence as much as they are extensions of these godly powers, because there is a reason that these gods need scions.
Indeed.
They have limitations.
With that
they need you.
With that firmly in mind, again, gentlemen, your scene.
So, you're asking for what, consent to help us? Like,
essentially, yes. Assuming that if your aim is indeed to unravel the machinations of this Yellow King, I'm inclined, based on the outcomes that I've seen unravel in New Orleans and elsewhere. My concerns are grave, and I feel that your quest may be at the center of this. I can't be sure. I don't have any extra levels of omnipotence or omniscience. Call it a gut feeling, if you will. And as far as the concerns by my kin, what I'm willing to offer is essentially a mark of purpose. Not a binding mark, mind you, but something that dragons, above all, will recognize as a symbol of at least neutrality or non-aggression, which may permit you to proceed unmolested, though it is not guaranteed to win you any friends. Dragons understand quests and geese better than most, and to be sponsored by one, such as myself, the ruler maker, the legend behind legends, their willfulness to stop you can be abated to a certain degree. But should you betray the mark, I cannot speak for what measures they might take against you or me, for that matter.
So it's like a tattoo?
Something like that.
I like tattoos.
This mark
what
will
would be
also...
the downside of it?
Well, this mark will also afford you the privilege of entering my sanctum as you see fit through any closed door at any time. You will only need to will yourself here, but there are a few stipulations to consider. You'll not be able to leave of your own volition. It will require either myself or an agent acting on my authority to provide you with an exit. As you'll notice, the door has still not reappeared. While this exit can be to anywhere within or outside of Terra Incognita, I am not providing you with travel service, such powers not to be exploited, and offerings will be expected, be they material or otherwise. Furthermore, should you bring chaos upon my house and invite the agents of destruction to wage war within these halls, I will personally see to it that you and they are reduced to less than memories in the universal tapestry. And with that, I will activate intimidating presence. The lights flicker, and for a moment, Royal's form is replaced by a massive scaled and coiled girth that winds around the pillars, like up into the ceiling.
The lights. Go on. Please.
It's for a moment, that's what they see. And then when the lights kind of resume, he's still sitting there with an empty plate of nachos.
Cool. Say less. I'm always down for more friends.
I remove a glove from my right hand, and I will extend it to MAJIN.
In this moment, Royal, I must ask, this is your domain, strictly your domain. You are Master Commander, Keyholder here. I imagine, we didn't dig into it too much when I had the pleasure of playing alongside you, but I would imagine that anyone entering this space you would fully be aware of.
Especially if it's my emissary. I mean, my number 2 is not going to hide his presence from me. I would likely hear his heels hit the floor.
The moment he steps through, in this moment, now as you extend your hand to MAJIN, you hear his heels, you feel the presence of Marcel enter your space.
But he's without Gregor.
He is without anyone. He is alone.
I'll kind of clench my hand for a moment, not like into a fist, but just kind of one moment. I'll stand up and just kind of straighten my shirt, and I'll try to remember, because he constantly reminds me, I will put the empty plate next to the other dishes instead of just leaving it on the table this time, and I will wait for Marcel to come in.
Excellent. You guys have a moment of maybe not tense silence, but after what you've witnessed, the coiled serpent behind the man, silence is understandably at least a little bit tense. Eventually you hear the heels and see the figure emerge. Marcel emerges and says, Mr. Gray, Mr. DeWitt is overly cautious in this moment.
As we expected he would be.
It wishes to see the two of you. Make sure that you are well.
Well, by all means. Again, it is not my intent to hold you captive here. I merely wished to make sure that we could speak candidly and openly. I feel that we've covered most of the dirtiest of details. However, realize once we leave this place, the eyes and ears will once again be upon you. And so it is likely within your interest to act with discretion. Share anything that we've talked about with your friend. I will be accompanying you out as well, as I don't want you to enter into any undue agreements without feeling as if you haven't walled them out. So my offer stands, and with it, we can depart. However, there is something I need to grab, if you don't mind. I fear that, given the nature of your pursuits, we may have to go somewhere and find answers to questions that will require a bit of adaptation. So if you'll excuse me, I have to go rummage. And I kind of like bounce away and leave them with Marcel. And I would like to make a horde stunt. I'm looking for my rings of water breathing. Like, they've got to be around here somewhere.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm going to start looking for those.
Absolutely. Horde stunt, absolutely. You know better than I the system for Scion Dragon. By all means.
Yeah, essentially it's just magic. So all I'm doing, so I have the magic item extra from my horde. So all I'm doing is I'm finding 3 items that provide the water breathing knack, and then that's it. So I'd be using 3 points of my horde to find 3 items.
Absolutely. You guys see Royal head off and begin to rummage. You're left alone with Marcel. He looks to the two of you and says, as I said, Mr. DeWitt seems cautious and concerned for your safety. My benefactor is correct. Anything that you say outside these halls may not be such privileged information. I would recommend discussing things, if necessary, just inside the door.
So
7 successes.
You find them rather quickly. We'll get to that very shortly, though.
Sure.
MAJIN.
So, like, is this like a secret conversation? Like, we're not supposed to tell people?
It's not necessarily secret. It's a... My benefactor. Gray trusts you. Perhaps not fully, but at the very least is willing to share this space with you. That says something. Any action you take against him will be a betrayal. Even if the action is unwitting. But be very careful who you let leak this information to. The location of this place. The identity of Mr. Gray.
So we'd have to be like secret friends? Like,
If that's the way you want to look at it, you'll find that his kind, I believe, I have not encountered anyone of his kind that doesn't know him.
So we're cool, but we can't let other people know we're cool.
As I come back, I will say specifically your patrons, and I will kind of jingle the rings in my hand and say we should get moving. Your friend is waiting.
But why though?
This conversation can be had on the way to the door if you'd like.
Yeah. Much for the same reason that your unveiling of Quetzalcoatl's of Ku Klux Klan's location led to unfortunate circumstances. As the power behind the throne, there are many who would seek the throne and secure my place behind them, whether or not it is my desire to do so. I have not seen or witnessed or borne myself before anyone whom I would see at the throne, and I would like to keep it that way until preparations have been made for either, well, my kind's eventual exodus, assuming that you all tear Incognito apart, or its decimation, whichever comes first. Door? I will gesture where the door was no longer, and there was a door there now. Do y'all need anything, by the way?
no, I'm good. Got my Coors banquets. So we just like can't talk about you at all, or like, because I feel like there are going to be questions. Like, do we just have to be stiff-lipped about the entire thing? What are we allowed to share? Like, just none whatsoever?
Speak with your friend. Make sure that Gregor is reassured. As I said, we're going to go out. I'll introduce myself. This isn't... I am more concerned about the more stickier details of our conversation. This hunt that you're on, this opposition that the more people that know who you're up against and who you're chasing, the more likely it is that their agents will become aware of your presence and the thorn that you present at their side. That's my concern, is that you'll be sabotaging yourselves. My exposure, I've become quite adept at keeping myself camouflaged. I will continue to do so. My influence and my assistance should help smooth some things for you, but this is not my quest. It is yours. And I open the door.
Mm-hmm.
You open the door. MAJIN, Charles, you step through. Marcel, in a sort of uncharacteristic manner, kind of places his hand on your shoulder while holding you before you step out after these two. I very rarely question your decisions, and I very rarely question your insight into these matters, Mr. Gray. I don't know if they fully understand. And I don't know if allying yourself with these three, is wise.
Luckily, wisdom is not in my purview. Only purpose, my good friend. And I'll pinch his cheek.
He may have a gun trained on you the moment you step through. Be ready to duck. You can see
I zip up my vest.
He kind of reaches for his sidearm, not necessarily grabbing it just yet, just hand hovering as he steps through the door alongside you.
Yeah, I will follow I'll follow the crew in.
Firstly, emerging, Gregor, as you wait kind of behind the furniture. Where have you positioned yourself? What do they see when they exit this space?
It's pretty much the same room. I haven't prepared it for combat, mind you. I'm stationed. I have the chair pushed up against I had that chair pushed up against the door, physics foot triangle and all that. And then I'm stationed behind the low couches, ready to duck down. As they walk through, they probably see me flinch, as if to duck down, before I recognize them.
There he is, MAJIN Charles, jumpy as ever, ready, itchy trigger finger likely, behind one of the couches, kind of flinches down, taking a defensive stance. You have but a moment before you are joined. Anything you'd like to say? Quick.
You two?
No, it's the other Scion of Sun Wukong and the Great Khan.
There is two of you, right? Yes.
In this moment, you guys say this. Royal, you emerge after. If you'd kindly detail, Gregor has not seen you yet. What does he see?
Sure. So what he sees is a relatively tall, slender figure wearing fashionably worn jeans with white sneakers, a black Las Vegas, Nevada 80s retro sunset t-shirt, over which is a light, single-breasted, slim-fitting black vest and black driving gloves. He has kind of ageless, clean-shaven, high cheekbones, deep-set hazel eyes, and bronzed skin, like copper tone. I love what you've done with the place.
I didn't do anything with the place.
I just kind of eye the door.
With him, of course, Gregor is Marcel. All of you joined now in this space.
And who are you?
My name is Royal. This is my penthouse. You all have been my guests for the past couple days. We haven't necessarily had the opportunity to meet. It truly is a pleasure. I've heard much about you.
That's unfortunate. So I haven't heard much about you.
Charles, you can very clearly see Gregor is doing his detective thing again.
I would beg to differ. I would say that you've probably gleaned more about me in the past 2 days than your friends have in the past 20 minutes.
I disagree. I only know what you want me to know. Which means I know nothing. Nothing of importance.
I will nudge, is it Charles? I like this one. I see why you're so fond of him. Please, I would ask that I'm not going to ask you to relax, but I would hope that the assurance that your friends have been returned safely, unharmed, and hopefully well-informed can reassure you that I mean you no ill will.
MAJIN as well. Apologies, MAJIN, you as well see Gregor is doing his detective thing, being cautious, cagey, some might say. You know, just a bit of tense air between Gregor and Royal.
If you would like to speak, you can feel free to utilize the seating, unless you're comfortable where you are, in which case, by all means.
Comfortable right here. And I'm afraid just returning to my friends is not enough to earn my trust at these times.
Nor would I expect it to be. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. MAJIN, the matter that we discussed regarding the potential for your tattoo, you can feel free to have that conversation as well.
Okay.
I'll leave you all to it. Feel free to use the room or return to your own. I would like to, well, I seem to have accumulated a bit of nacho dust. I would like to change and wash my hands.
Just to clarify before you go, like, we could talk, right? Like there's no
Yes,
secret.
correct.
Okay.
Talk as you see fit.
Okay.
I wave at the monkey as I walk back into like the back room.
Chim Chim kind of gives a deep bow as you wave. You can see he has destroyed the cheese and crackers. There are crumbs. He's picked. It's not really like a whole lot of mess. He seems to have kind of piled it up and then slurped up the salt pile.
So you're saying the table is clean? Ew.
Yeah.
I will also wave Marcel off, like toward the door, back to his peeps, to leave them alone. And I will just go back into the restroom.
Understood. Marcel gives you a nod and then kind of makes brief eye contact with Charles and MAJIN before resting his eyes on you, Gregor. A little bit of a smirk on his lips as he departs. You guys are alone in this space. Royal is off to the side in the restroom.
So, what was that about a tattoo?
Yeah, a tattoo of what do you call it?
It was a mark of sorts.
Yeah, something like almost like a protection type deal. Yeah,
Protection type deal.
why are you so jumpy, man? Well,
Because this reeks of a trap.
Yeah, but you was so forthcoming with the Teatro, like they came in flash badge and you was like, okay, and this guy gives us a bunch of money and place to live, and you're like, that's suspicious.
That's literally how criminals get you.
Yeah, but those weren't criminals, and they literally kidnapped our friend.
Yeah, I get that.
I gotta say, I don't think I've ever been given free money and a place to stay by criminals.
No, they offer you that sort of thing to get you to show up, and the next thing you know, your daughter's being shipped off to the Philippines.
Well, luckily I don't have a daughter, so I don't have to worry about that type of shit, and I don't think we, like MAJIN or you do either, so I mean, it should be fine.
I think so.
We can work our way out of whatever trap is gonna... Then don't trust him, that's fine. I'm not asking you to trust him, just give him a chance.
Yeah, I mean, he's been pretty cool. He got a nice pad. He got some video games and nachos, and I think there's like a cotton candy machine or something.
Great
in there.
character.
Gregor, I again want to dip into your mindset right now. They're saying a lot of stuff. I'm curious as to what is rushing through your head, because I have an idea, but I'd like to get the full picture.
You ever see that picture of a... Never mind. I don't need to draw up that mental image. But either they're brainwashed or they're fools, because this reeks of a major trap. And I can understand. It's probably it's either a really good brainwashing or Charles is just
easily bought
able to
with food and video games.
Yeah, because he's making Charles-like arguments.
I'll ask as well, are you hiding your emotions from your friends, or are you kind of maintaining that detective demeanor, or are you letting your guard down amongst your friends?
I'm not letting my guard down, not because it's amongst my friends, but because...
There's a strange man in the bathroom.
Yeah, there's a strange man in the bathroom. There's a black inky void beyond that door over there. Why do we suddenly trust teleporters? We've never trusted teleporters. Every time teleportation has been involved, it's been terrible.
You guys, I think, could read Gregor enough to where, like, he's keeping that facade, but he's looking at you like, are you guys fucking kidding me right now? Video games and food, that's all it took?
Look, we're not the one that was like, let's go to Florida. Don't worry about it. I'll escort Phil to the front door. I don't need nobody. And then walk through the front door. I told you that was a trap, and you literally walked right through it. Come on now. What is this?
Yes.
I'm saying, aware. You got 2 marks and we got 0 right now. All right?
Yeah.
MAJIN's a great Joker character. I would argue that I am, but I did almost get sacrificed by goth witches.
Which, you know, is understandable.
Oh, what a way
Happens
to
to the
go.
best of us.
No one can fault you for that.
Look, okay, I'll be honest. Well, yeah, you know, it sounded like a trap. You know, yeah, it did. You
It
can't trust
smell-
anything. You know,
It
and
smells like a trap.
when these doors opened and we walked through, and yeah, I thought I was in space again. You know, but it wasn't. It was a kick-ass pad with a bunch of shit. PlayStation 2. You know,
I feel it necessary to remind you guys, Charles did his due diligence. He even asked if it was a trap.
yeah. So I mean, we were cautious, you know. But at the end of the day, this guy, you know, he gave us money, you know, riding around in limousines and stuff like that. We got to at least show some respect, you know.
Why
and
did you ride around in his limousine?
Who the fuck turns down a
Honestly,
limousine?
to just to brag to Jessica, really, like,
Yeah.
Who?
They would hear the water running at this point.
You guys hear the water running in the next room over.
Oh, goddamn. Look, you want to know about him, right? What we talked about and all that.
No,
Oh, okay. Well,
not particularly.
then what you want?
This is a very shady individual. I want to get out of here and abandon this individual to his shower.
Well, I mean, he's offering us help, basically.
What's
'cause, you
the
know,
cost?
You know, I don't know, a mark of protection. It's basically like, you know, we could come to his place and, you know, I guess times of need or something like that. I mean, there might be like a tribute or two. I don't know about that exactly, but you know, basically he said his people would probably, you know, avoid us. At least they won't cause us trouble if we have the mark, you know.
So you get this mark, and roughly 1,500 people in the world don't cause you trouble.
Well, I mean, not 15. No, what 15? What are you talking? I don't know how many
That's how many
dragons there
people.
are.
That's what. When did dragons come up?
Aren't you the investigator?
This man runs a company.
And there was nothing.
are you trying to say that a dragon can't run a company, Gregor? That's
No,
pretty
I'm
racist
no,
of you, man.
I'm confused on when dragons came up.
Gregor,
When did the
that
conversation switch to dragons?
in this moment, you're a smart individual. I want you to make a quick roll for me. Intellect and whatever you think you would need to piece some things together about the conversation that's taken place thus far.
Piece things together. Let's see.
I may have peed a little bit. That was great.
I could see academics, integrity, empathy.
Well, every time I've used integrity, it's gone up by 1. So I guess this will be, what, 7 if I roll with integrity?
You're about to reset yourself, but alright, go on.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. This is going to be the 0. And it was intellect?
Yes.
Or, okay. Okay. That's 4. 3 10s. Okay. That was actually 7.
Curse
Shouldn't have
dice,
did that.
curse dice, curse dice.
I shouldn't have did that.
Royal as well, you we touched on last session as well. I would like to remind you, you may, at any point, just let me know whenever you would like to send the divine, if you would like to do so.
Yep,
Gregor
okay.
was 7 successes. When did dragons come up? That's why they brought up the Teotl. There was dual reason behind it. It was the comparison of dragons. It was that mixed with the accusation of you walking in with Phil. this individual is not maybe not just a criminal or some sort of overlord or mastermind. He's supernatural in nature. They brought up dragons. He is likely a dragon. We have no way of confirmation, of course. A theory.
Yeah. At which point, the question still is, okay, so we're siding with the dragons?
No, we're not siding with the dragons. There's no siding. All right. There's just truth.
Yeah, the truth is the King in Yellow is trying to change the world.
Okay. And he's
so we're
offering
siding with
help.
the dragons.
That's
so
not
we're siding
with it. No, that's not siding with the dragons.
The
This
people
is-
who aren't in on the King in Yellow bit are going to see it that way.
Okay, fuck the King in
We're
Yellow.
gonna side against the King in
No.
Yellow. Yes.
I think
Are you siding with him?
I think you're misunderstanding. The people who don't know the King in Yellow is pulling the strings are going to see that it is us siding with dragons. So we're siding with
Okay, well,
dragons.
fuck him.
We're not siding with dragons. You keep
If
saying
that's
it,
how you have
and
to
that's
see
not
it,
happening.
and that's how you have to see it, brother.
All it does is take time to talk from one side to another. All right, that's all it takes is time, understanding, and empathy. All right, we're not siding with the dragons. He's offering assistance, right?
Okay.
We
What's the
want
price?
the middle ground. I mean, the price is a tattoo or a marking, a brand,
You didn't ask the price.
sanctuary, tribute,
You didn't ask the price, did you?
secrecy.
You didn't ask the price.
I mean, you know, that's the
MAJIN,
price.
you're supposed to be the smart one.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the price. You know, what you want me to say? He wanted some blood or something? Not everybody wants to drink the heart of people. All right, dang.
No, I wanted you to give me an actual
people-
price. You just
Sometimes
listed the
people are
benefits.
just like, was there a price when we fucking reached out to Kukulkan and said, "Hey, let's be friends"? There was no price to that. We're just trying to get ahead of the storm. Maybe he's the same way.
The
bathroom
price
door
to that
opens.
was that we caused a battle between him and
That's not
potentially
the price we asked. That's just something that happened.
You didn't ask the price, did you?
You're muted.
Yep. In this moment, in this sentence, you are rejoined by Royal Gray. Royal, did you change?
Yeah, I am actually wearing my traveling clothes. So it's a short sleeve black T-shirt, a light like khaki jacket, some jeans, and likely some work boots and like a baseball hat. His luster seems to have calmed quite a bit. If anything, he looks more nondescript than the guards outside. I just kind of brush the jacket off and check myself in the mirror, come back.
You got a wardrobe in your restroom?
Oh, these aren't clothes, my friend. As I said, I've grown quite accustomed to making sure that I can walk amongst people unmolested.
Are you naked right now?
It's difficult to say, really. And
If they're not clothes,
is a tiger naked when they walk about in their fur?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, then I suppose this is my visage. This is what I present to the world.
Wait, does that mean it's just an illusion, or like, are you shifting like your scales, or like how does this work?
Well, it's pretty soft. I think it's a cotton polyester blend. You can feel free to touch it if you like.
I'm gonna touch it.
It feels like khaki.
This is amazing. Can you show me how to do this?
One thing at a time. Have you all? I feel like I maybe came back at an inappropriate time, but
No, you came back at the exact right time. What's the price?
the price.
Yeah, Imagine never asked. What's the price?
Well, I have no desire to enslave or subjugate you. You are capable creatures with your own minds and agency.
I didn't
It is
ask
not.
if you were going to enslave me. You're the one who brought up slavery. What the heck's going on about that?
Well, you're asking about prices. What I'm doing is providing you with an answer as to what the price is not.
Yeah, that doesn't answer my question at all.
I'll get there. It is not my way to rob you of your agency, but I would be a fool to not ask for a gesture of good faith in exchange for my ongoing assistance in helping you achieve your ends. That gesture, again, is a non-aggression pact. One which it seems, based on the incident in Arizona, that you were in desperate need of. No? Did I not assess that situation appropriately?
Non-aggression pact with you,
With my kind.
the entirety of dragonkind.
I wouldn't say the entirety. There are always going to be those who, I mean, like Jormungandr's a bit of a tricky situation, and Nessie is really down to her soaps. So don't mess up her TV. She'll probably be fine. There are certain other destructive agents that really just don't care about the way of things, but they also haven't managed to secure a sound power base, as our emergence is relatively recent.
So the price is a non-aggression pact, and the thing we're buying is your assistance.
Well, you're not buying anything. My purpose, my very existence on this plane, in this universe, is to facilitate the fulfillment of various destinies. The rising of those of prominence, those of notoriety, those of purpose, those like yourselves, who've become known, who become interesting to those in power.
Well, that's rough, buddy.
I don't understand.
Sounds like a terrible existence.
Well, I would horribly disagree, considering there is no question of my purpose. I've never questioned it in any incarnation I've had, from what I imagine anyway. There's always a period of confusion, but
I don't know. You're always shoving other people into the spotlight. Sounds like a rough existence. But so a non-aggression pact with the majority, I would imagine, of dragonkind.
many who respect me and my place in this world, yes.
That is the price, you say.
Yes.
Hmm.
That and a promise that you will do your absolute best to not bring war upon my home, my sanctum.
Okay, whatever that means. Hmm.
I think you would call it my lair.
So don't fight in here, okay?
Oh no, the hotel is not my lair. Okay, this is real estate. I picked it up a couple years ago. It's stylistically, I'm inclined. It used to be called the Royal Dragon. I thought it was cute. It came under new management. I decided to pick up anyway because I needed a convention center for the self-help people. It's this place I don't really care too much about. It's insured. My lair, on the other hand, my sanctum, is a place of importance and safety. And I'm
Nice.
offering its use to you, along with everything inside.
You said we wouldn't be able to leave on our own after we go in. What kind of expectancy would we be left with? Like, how long would we be expected to be stuck there?
So let us say, for the sake of argument, that in a panic you decide to venture into my sanctum, fleeing some horrible terror. I would be alerted to your presence relatively immediately. The question would be whether or not I could address your entrance, or I would have to send an agent to extract you as well. So it would likely be either myself or Marcel who would join you in short order. And then at that point, it would depend on where you needed to come out. If it was a matter of traversing other realms, I would definitely require some sort of tribute for a travel of that magnitude. But if you're just looking to go from, I don't know, Nevada to Chicago, I would ask for at least a good tourist T-shirt or some sort of gift that you would bring someone from your new destination.
But you just said you don't wear clothes.
That doesn't mean I don't keep them.
What if he needs them at least once so that he can copy them?
I mean, I feel like a dressing room would work.
I have a few of those. I'm a collector of sorts. We all are. When I say we, I say it with like a certain kind of capital we. We are. Hoarders, you could say.
I got it. Like a dragon horde. Yeah. Did you get that, Chim Chim?
Chim Chim kind of just
You
looks
really are
at
a
you and
delightful bunch.
smiles. Starts to speak to you, Charles. What's it like in there? Do we get to keep the money? Did you ask about the money?
Oh shit! Chim Chim wants to know about the money. I'm okay with
Don't tell him
leaving it.
Don't tell him I asked.
pay.
What the fuck? What does a monkey need with millions? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He looking
I'm
at
gonna-
Royal a bit embarrassed.
I'm gonna kneel down in front of Chim Chim.
Chim Chim is very
him-
clearly just
Look
like
him dead in the eyes. Little monkey friend, how much money would you like?
Charles, help.
I'm going to kind of like put my hand in between like his panicked gaze to Charles and very gently like move his little furry face towards mine. And I would like to imbue one of my little legends here to encourage behavior.
Excellent.
And I'm going to encourage him to be forthwith with me and tell me how much money Chim Chim wants, or in his best ability to communicate
Understood.
that to me.
Without the beast purview, he cannot speak freely to you. He does know sign language. I believe Royal does.
Yes.
With the well traveled and the amount of incarnations that he's had. He begins to sign at you, Royal. Very clearly, kind of not a glaze washes over him or anything like that, but he just kind of relaxes. Doesn't look to Charles for confirmation, but he signs at you and he says,
I take out my notepad and I write down whatever he's saying.
I wish to rival Sun Wukong's abode on Flower Fruit Mountain. He's turned the place into a tourist trap, and I'm tired of handing out greeting cards. Charles is an excellent reprieve from that, but he will eventually call me home. I want an actual home to go back to like he has.
I will tear off the memo. I'll get this to my people, and we'll do an estimate of the property that you've mentioned, and make sure that you're provided with one that exceeds it by at least $1.
Just smile.
I sign that to him. I don't like say it out loud.
There's a smile. He kind of signs in return. I appreciate your kindness. If there is anything that I can do for you, or that I could possibly sway Charles to do for you, he just requires a video game or two. I can help out with that. I know what he likes. I've been sitting with him for weeks now.
All I ask is that you keep your ears and eyes open. And I will, I'm going to slide that memo under the door to the crew and let them handle it.
It's quickly scooped up. You guys all see Royal has signed Chim Chim, written something, and slipped it under the door.
Oh, what do you ask for?
A tourist trap. A big one.
You know what? With how much he likes taking stuff from tourists, that makes sense.
I have to say, it's not a venture I've necessarily explored, but I don't see any problem with it. I'm
I
assuming
should have
that
seen this in forums.
I'm assuming that your conversation can be continued as we move along, assuming that you are still okay with me joining you for a time.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
There is the matter of the mark. Now, again, if it is a pact that is set and your quest begins, you will have use of my sanctum. I will help you where I can and when I can. But this is not my quest. These are not my enemies. And this king in yellow remains a mystery, which is why I brought these forth, and I produced 3 rings. There's someone I need to go speak to, and I'd like you to come with me, but he lives in a very uninhabitable place. So if you are to come with me, you'll need these to persist there and, well, breathe.
Say less. I'll reach for a ring.
I'll look to Gregor.
What? I don't trust any of this.
So you're not going?
I've been outvoted.
That doesn't
So you
answer
are
the
coming.
question.
Democracy.
Unfortunately, we're a democracy.
Well, there's no voting. I didn't even give him my
You
answer
just
yet.
did.
No, I didn't.
Then have I been outvoted? Because I don't trust this. Even in the slightest. Eyeing Mr. Gray.
Royal is fine.
No, out of character. Eyeing Mr.
Oh.
Gray.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you said my Mr. Gray. My bad. Well, what I can tell you is that the person that I'd like to go see is a former comrade of mine who fell out of favor with my kind and into a bit of despair. He's a complicated individual, but we were able to find him a place to gather his senses, a place where he could feel comfortable without feeling the agony of what he would call being haunted, I suppose. By
Is it Albine's dad?
who?
Uh,
I just kind of look confused. I don't know them, but I'm assuming that you can share that information on the journey if you so choose. These are rings of water
Okay.
breathing. He has submerged himself amidst a community of creatures that he is comfortable with while he figures his life out.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
Is he part of this this mark?
No, he's actually more like you, or one of you. He was once an heir and has become a scion of sorts, from what I understand. To a strange being, curious, quizzical, monstrous being, in my understanding. But considering our lack of information on this King in Yellow, I feel that curious information will come from curious sources.
Well, I mean, yeah, if he got info on the King in Yellow, then shit, why not?
I don't know, but I'm inclined to ask. It won't take long.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, then.
Don't act like you don't want to know. Just take the
No,
fucking ring. Take the
I'm worried.
ring.
I'm worried about something else entirely. No.
Whatever happens, it's going to be interesting. Let's just go.
I will accept a ring.
I will hold the last ring, the ring from Majin, in my left hand, and I will take once again take my glove off,
You do this.
and I will extend my hand to Majin. Are you ready?
Is this like the mark thing, or are we like leaving?
It is the mark thing, yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, then let me back up a little bit, because you know the stipulations and everything. Like, I want to be friends and stuff, but I just
You don't want to enter a binding contract, I understand.
it's not even that. Is I look, my dad I just met my dad for the first time. You know, a month ago.
When you
When
say
we
your
meet
dad, you
again-
mean your patron?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, next time we meet after this whole quest thing, I'm gonna beat his ass. That's the end of it, you know.
Okay.
But I can't bring myself to, you know, just outright lie to people, at least for no concern, you know, no reason.
Are you asking if you would have to conceal it from your people, your kind?
Yeah.
It would be essentially invisible to them. There'd be no reason. The only ones that would understand this mark would be other dragons.
Okay. But if it was ever to come to like, hey, are you working with dragons? You know,
Then what you can tell them is the truth, that you have made an attempt, a sincere attempt to remain diplomatic and non-aggressive to the best of your ability, so as not to perpetuate a potential war between dragons and gods, as we share many of the same enemies.
And that's exactly what I want, you know, genuinely. So I mean, I would accept the mark, you know, with that air cleared. And you know, I just want you to know that, you know, I'm not trying to give problems to you. And if I happen to give problems to you, you could be sure that I'll do my best to correct that. So,
as I said, I would make such an immense investment without taking the time to assess the caliber of competency at play in opposition to this king. And as I said, it is only my desire to help you fulfill your purposes, not share in your glory.
okay. Well, I mean, you can share if you want, but
It has never been my place, nor will it ever be. I extend my hand, and it starts to the skin kind of takes on a red hue, that almost seems to like sizzle.
yeah, I shake, and that's my answer. Looking to Gregor,
and I grab him about the forearm, and
shit.
I will spend a legend to use Blessing of Draconic Power, which I think I shared the details with you already.
Kindly detail once more for any viewers that might be curious as well.
Sure. So Blessing of Draconic Power, what it does. You can temporarily give any character, including a trivial one of your dragon knacks. Until you reclaim the inheritance you imbued in this, they can use this knack as their own. You do not lose use of this knack when you use the spell. So essentially what I've done is I've marked him under his skin, so it's not like an actual tattoo. It likely feels like a tattoo for about 3 seconds. Like there's a searing like jolt of pain. There's likely a bright white light, and then it probably fades as quickly as it came and leaves a bit of a soothing presence. And the knack that I'm providing him with is access to my pocket realm, only through a closed door.
Understood.
So, and he can make it available for any number of people up to my inheritance. So 1, 2, 3 people.
Excellent.
And I leave that with him.
Flash of light. It is not present on your forearm, MAJIN. But an agreement has been reached, and a journey will soon be made. After we take a quick break for Tech and Bio, we thank you for joining us with us. We're going to be taking a small break. You'll notice that the intermission screen is still broken. Still got to work on that. So enjoy our slightly bare intermission screen while we take a small break. We'll be with you again very shortly. See you soon. The amount of things I deal with behind the scenes, I wish you guys could see, but I also am thankful you don't. Welcome back. We rejoin our friends, and Mark has been given. A tentative accord on some parts has been reached, and now a journey must be made. Gentlemen, the scene is yours. You remain in this penthouse. Chim Chim hopping over to Charles's shoulder. A little smile still on his face, Charles.
What are you grinning about?
I'm getting a house.
Yeah.
Also, he speaks sign language. I want to throw that out there. He speaks sign language. I mean, I've been with you for weeks. You haven't asked about learning sign language. I just want to throw that out there.
You want to teach me sign language?
What's that?
Do you want to teach me sign language?
I've been waiting. I figured that... Yes, that'd be great. MAJIN asked. Why were you the second person? You know what? Doesn't matter. I'm getting a house. Doesn't fucking matter. I'm getting a house. I'm gonna have a house.
I was going to teach you how to drive a car.
You would do that for me?
Yes, of course. I've been wanting you to drive the van for so long.
Do you know how to drive, Charles?
What?
Do you know how to drive?
Yeah, I know how to drive.
I just never
Did
see
you
you
ask me about
drive.
insurance?
I just never see you drive.
Yeah, that's because Gregor's real finicky about who drives the van.
The rest of you guys see the sort of monkey noises being made between Charles and Chim Chim.
Well, the pact is set. The quest is in motion. So where should we begin? Oh, by the way, you can go ahead and chop up that black card. It should be expiring within the next hour or so.
Okay. I'm going to keep it as a memento, though.
By all means.
What?
So where are we going again?
That's up to you all.
Didn't you say you had an individual in mind?
Well, yes. If you all are ready, then we can go see them. I would ask that if you're going to ask them questions, to be cordial, as they are a bit jumpy.
Got it.
Okay. I'm ready to go see them.
Go.
Okay. I will go back to the door, and I will once again open it, but instead of a black void, what they're going to see is basically an aquarium suspended at the doorway.
No glass, just the water drifting. You see floral, coral and sea life, bits of fish and sea life swimming about beneath whatever ocean may be.
Should we leave our phones?
The ring should provide you with a pretty airtight barrier. I don't really see it getting into your devices.
All right. Into the
can't-
depths it is then.
I can't go in first, so by all means.
That's incredibly suspicious.
I'll push Gregor in.
If I go in, the door closes.
MAJIN, you push Gregor in very quickly. Gregor, ring already on. Thankfully, you kind of instinctually take a deep breath. Hitting the water, you immediately have that sensation of, oh fuck, I did it too late. Now I've been taking water into my lungs. Now I'm drowning. Fades. Not quickly, but you begin to breathe. Try to calm yourself. MAJIN
I'll
chuckles.
walk in next.
MAJIN
Motherfucker.
I mean, yeah, they shouldn't even feel wet.
No moisture. You just kind of float in this space. Charles?
Yeah, I was asking, is Chim Chim good to come with? Like, should he be fine?
He may want to accompany me, as I don't know that the ring will extend. So if he would be so kind, I can keep him safe.
He hops over to your shoulder, Gray. You have a tiny little golden macaque on your shoulder.
Don't poop.
I'll hop through the door.
And yeah, I will just extend my adaptability to Chim Chim as I walk through.
Understood. Charles drifts through, shortly followed by Gray and Chim Chim. You guys are in this space. Royal, what do they see?
I mean, we're in the depths of the ocean of a dream world, so I'm imagining it's an ocean that looks probably pretty crazy. There's probably ribbons of color running through, like underwater nebula, strange sea creatures.
Almost like an oil spill. You see colors drift here and there. No verifiable source.
I'd be looking for a domicile.
Understood. You guys see all manner of sea life. For some reason, there is light in this space, though you walk amongst the seafloor, rather float just above it. Seeking out a domicile, Gray, you ferry this being to and fro. When last you left him, he indeed needed some time to himself to think. He often comes to you in seeking time to think, away from things that creep into his mind. He was not doing great when you left him. That was some time ago, though. Usually after these visits, these brief excursions of solitude, he gathers himself, reminds himself who he is, and is fine. Domicile in question is a simple thing. He kind of kept a remnant of what he used to be. He resides in this underwater cave system. No pocket of air necessarily that you've seen, but just a little network of caves.
We'll kind of gesture to it and start heading in that direction.
Follow.
The rest of you follow
Hold on.
behind. Into the cave, you see bioluminescent crystals and algae. You see trinkets that he's brought. String and twine. What looks like stolen paintings. Just kind of drifting about. Tied to the walls. Sort of decorating. Almost human. Almost, if it wasn't for the fact this was the sea floor itself. You drift further and further in. The light is enough to illuminate this space. One end of the cave, this sort of dead end, sits a very, very waterlogged couch. This is where you find your friend, Royal. Laying down, just staring up at the ceiling. There's a few fish that have drifted into this space. He watches them, and when they begin to drift too far out of his vision, he rockets his hand upwards, blocking their path, scaring them back into a sort of cage of his own making.
Look about for something of metal make, and I will just kind of like flick it with my finger. Kind of letting that ring in the water.
Pulsates out from what looks like the discarded remnants of a metal TV stand. Long since broken. It emanates out. He shoots his head up. All of you can see a gentleman, pale skin, looks like he may have been tan at one point in his life. Long black hair, kind of just drifting and flowing with the currents. He wears no shirt. He is tattooed with what looks like depictions of old Aztec and Mayan folklore. Wears jeans and heavy-looking black boots. He looks to you, Gray. Gray.
Arturo?
You don't usually visit during my excursions.
Times have become complicated. I've brought a few new friends with me who would like to ask you some questions, and as such, I come bearing tribute, and I will produce a thermos on one condition. You answer the questions they have, and do your best to control any impulses you might have.
I'll do my best, buddy, old pal.
I will crack the thermos just briefly and let it like leak into the water. It's coffee.
Kind of waves his hand. You can see the currents kind of drift, bringing the little stains into his lips. This is true Colombian. You all right, I'll be on my best behavior. I promise. I promise. I promise. He looks to all three of you as he says this.
I float it over.
Takes it in his hands.
I'm gonna go look at the paintings. Enjoy yourselves.
You're not staying. You're not staying with.
I'll be nearby. This isn't my quest, Arturo. But it's great to see you. You could be doing well.
Thanks to you. And I'll be on my best behavior. He cracks it open. You see the stains of black coffee drift. He kind of contains it, waving his hands, drifting bit by bit into his mouth.
Yeah, I stay nearby. I just kind of hang out in the hallway and like the room and kind of leave them to talk.
Understood. Please, by all means, let me know if you wish to rejoin or anything of note you might be looking for or taking note of. Three of you are left alone with this strange individual.
All right. What can you tell us about the King in Yellow?
Jeez! Hold on.
Getting right to it, huh?
Let's introduce ourselves.
No, let's not say our names. What can you tell us about the King in Yellow? He's Charles.
Hi, Charles. I'm Arturo. It's a pleasure to meet you. He
Nice
kind
to
of
meet you.
swims over, a hand outstretched.
Actually, my hand.
We don't get many monkeys down here. Sea monkey.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. Charles.
Arturo.
Looks to the other two of you.
I'm MAJIN.
MAJIN. It's not so difficult to be polite. It's a pleasure to meet the both of you. You are rude.
I also don't trust your friend.
Well.
Nor do I have any reason to trust you.
Well, he does have that kind of evil overlord air about him, but I promise you he's... Saying he's harmless would be a lie. He can be quite terrifying.
Words aren't reassuring
That's
in the
okay.
slightest.
It's okay, they're not meant to be.
Good.
You are in the lair of the beast, stranger.
And what beast would that be?
What can I do for you?
What do you know of the King in Yellow?
Why do you want to know?
His dad has been causing problems. Or he's been causing problems, and one of his Scions in particular has chosen to mess with us.
Interesting. Well, I'm... Color me interested. I'm intrigued by your quarry. I'll say this, though. I've been advised to be on my best behavior. My best behavior means that I fall back on a lot of old lessons. One of them being, I don't talk to strangers. So, if the two of you, by all means, make yourself at home. If you have any questions, if you have inquiries, requests, maybe, by all means. You, stranger, Royal did bring you here. I'll grant you the kindness of heeding his words and being on my best behavior. But if you kindly wait outside while I get acquainted with my new friends, perhaps Royal can offer you a way home. I'm not in the habit of picking up strangers either, driving them about so you get stabbed, you know.
Or blood portaled. Fair.
Before you leave, Gregor, what do you want to know?
Everything
Any
he
questions
knows of
you
the
want me
King
to
in
ask?
Yellow. Everything he knows of the King in Yellow. What he would speculate the plans are. Also, why he would know anything about the King in Yellow. In particular.
King in Yellow, King in Yellow, King in Yellow. Too afraid to say his name, huh?
Are you going to?
Esther. Don't worry, stranger, he can't find you here. This is my little place of solitude. Well, my corner of Gray's place of solitude.
He's able to Interesting. That only makes Gray less trustworthy.
Stranger danger. Shoo shoo.
Bye.
The two of you, hello. Can
Hey,
I interest you
Arturo.
in some coffee?
Sure. Is it going to be all salty from the water, or?
Shouldn't be. He drifts a little globule towards you, Charles.
I'm gonna snap it up like Pac-Man.
Tastes strictly like coffee. No seawater to be had.
That's good. It's very good. Thank you, Arturo.
Please come in. I don't have much in the way of seating, but don't really need it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just float about then. But it's like you said, we're inquiring about the King in Yellow. I don't know his name. He's getting real active. I think he's trying to, like, I don't know, maybe stage a war between the dragons and the gods. His own personal vendetta of, like, picking off the winning side. I don't know.
Interesting. So what's Gray's part in all of this? This is just him being a philanthropist again, I suppose?
I guess so. Said he wanted to help us in exchange for a non-aggression pact with dragons.
Interesting.
I'm going to be using my tail as a propeller to, like, kind of just float about.
Understood. He drifts back over, gestures toward the couch to you, Majin, and kind of grabs this sort of plastic Walmart chair out of the floating space and just kind of puts it up against his butt and just kind of drifts. I have some information, but I am curious as to what your part in all of this is. I don't understand. Gray wants to sponsor you, but God, I can't imagine why. No offense, but you don't look like much.
That's fair, I suppose. I mean, our friend Bill was, I guess, coerced into taking part in the King in Yellow's plans, the Scion of such, and yeah, just trying to save him, really, trying to get him back. Is my part, Majin?
Oh, I mean, yeah, this Phil dude he's an asshole. We trusted him, stabbed us in the back. He wants to save him. I just want to beat his ass. And hopefully, you know, stop a war before it happens. Or at least, you know, mitigate as much damage.
And it's a noble cause, stopping a war.
I mean, it's a misunderstanding. I feel like, you know.
You don't mind if I, you know, gestures towards you, making a very strange motion.
You want to smell me?
That's the one.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, underwater makes it a little bit difficult to get a whiff, and water in your ears makes it difficult to hear the sounds that accompany. I'm just curious. No harm intended. He drifts over to you, Majin, and sort of inhales deeply. You can see the water currents drift upwards into his nostrils, his mouth. I don't know what that is. That's interesting. I don't think I've encountered one of your kind before. You don't have to tell me.
I mean, you want me to tell you, or
I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tingri.
Tingri. Okay. Charles, do you mind if I have a whiff?
No, I don't care.
Gets close to you, does the same thing, and says, bureaucracy incarnate, I would know the Shen anywhere. I've killed a lot of you.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not... You guys get your fingers into things. You guys make a lot of really ill-suited decisions.
Don't know what that means, but cool.
Sorry. If any of you guys he got close enough to you, were in this space, you would be able to sense the divine in kind, if you so choose.
Absolutely.
Before I do it, you know.
Charles, you do this. Majin, you request, and he nods, and of course, by all means. I haven't figured out quite exactly what I'm supposed to do. Kind of leans over to you. Where normally there is a scent, a hint, perhaps of olives, perhaps of horseflesh, there's usually an accompanying sound. There is emptiness. There is nothing. Much like Gregor. Much like your friend.
I thought you was no disrespect, but dragon, like a dragonkin.
I was. You ever get tired of Daddy telling you what to do and not really giving proper instruction? Not giving. It was an abusive relationship. I left. I'm not like Gray. I was chosen at a young age, so I'm not bound to anybody. Unless they sink their claws in.
That sounds neat.
It can be.
Like Titan spawn?
No, I serve a different master who wants different things. Another type of abusive relationship, unfortunately.
So
like the same ballpark as the King in Yellow?
That's the one. Same type as the King in Yellow. Which is why I know a little bit about him, actually. Trying to stop a war, then. What can I do to help? What exactly you want to know? You want to know his favorite food? Favorite color? Yellow. Spoiler alert.
Question, while all this is going on, where's Gregor?
Good question.
I was told to leave, so I left.
Right, where did you go?
Outside.
Oh, okay. So as Gregor kind of walks by me in the hallway, I will kind of dawdle behind him a bit. I'm not like on his heels, but I'm just kind of following him outside. And once he's outside, I
don't trust that.
I will ask, going anywhere in particular? I wouldn't necessarily call these realms horribly safe for your kind. I mean, this particular area is pretty secluded, but as you are within the divine realm of the Naga, you might want to tread carefully and not go too far. Is everything?
All right.
Why did you leave? Did you not get the answers you asked for?
Why did you follow?
Again, to give you the warning that I just gave you, because, well, I didn't invest in you to have you dawdle about and then end up in circumstances that I would have to explain to others. Because, well, you're not bearing the mark.
Fair. Fair. Don't like that term, but fair.
What, the mark? You can call it a blessing if you
No.
want.
No, not that at all. Completely missed where I was going with that, but okay. Fine, I won't dawdle too far.
Look, I understand your concerns. I really do.
I believe you do. And that's what's all the more concerning.
Well, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't need you
Yeah,
to
it is.
trust me. I don't even need you to like me. I don't actually need you to do anything. Choice is a power that you have. Agency is yours. I'm not here to control you. Consider me a whisper.
Ah, but you see, whispers are the most dangerous types of words.
I don't disagree. But whispers can be powerful.
Exactly why. Always underestimate the whispers, and then suddenly you're doing something you never would have. Forgive me if I find that comparison all the more concerning.
If anything, I appreciate your willingness to acknowledge the scope of the situation that you all have landed yourselves in. This really is quite the pickle.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And while I've done my best to make sure that you all are aware of my stake in this and my aims, and your companions have told me very obviously and very clearly what they want, what is it you're looking to do, Gregor? What is your aim in all this?
My aim in all this.
With the King in Yellow, with the journeys that you all took to Arizona, the seeking of Klan,
Oh,
the incident in New Orleans. How does
oh,
this
there's no
stitch together?
big, there's no big plot there. That's just certain monkeys saying go to California.
Yet the circumstances continue to pile up and accumulate in your wake.
Yeah, because we're being hunted. Did they not tell you that?
By who?
The King in Yellow. You're aware of him.
Only because I was told.
Exactly, so I assume they told you that we are being hunted. That which follows in our wake is nothing more than a hunter.
Then it makes sense that the blame of many of these incidents is being spread around so as to distract from his aims. No?
Mm, no, I don't think that's what he's doing.
Then what do you think he's doing?
Well, it's a performance. As much as I hate to say it, it's a performance.
I do love a good show.
Exactly.
We'll leave this scene quickly of the seemingly bonding, perhaps. Return
Don't
to
trust him in the slightest.
MAJIN, Charles, and Arturo. Information. You looking for a weakness? I don't understand exactly. Like He said, orchestrate a war with dragons and gods. Guys, the war has been brewing for some time. Dragons haven't just been sitting idly by. You don't even remember... Oh, we're all too young, I guess, to remember when dragons ruled.
Yeah, but he's starting shit. He's using people as puppets. He's recruiting Scions. I guess much like you. He's I guess building an army, so to say.
He's only speeding up what would have already come to pass years and years from now. You're not looking to stop a war. You're looking to delay it. You see the issue here?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the real issue is the King in Yellow. King in Yellow is starting shit. I just
don't like
it. Yeah, he's starting shit. He's making it seem like dragons are doing stuff. And dragons, think Scions, the gods, are doing stuff. And he's just in the background playing with little puppets.
And that's what he does. He's a puppet master. He's a trickster. He's a corrupter. He's fond of theater. All the world is his play.
And I want to pull back that curtain so everyone will know who exactly is to blame.
Careful with that analogy. If everyone sees behind the curtain, then you've got a bigger problem on your hands.
In a select few.
Now you're thinking, smart. The king is a corrupter. That's all he is. That's all he's ever going to be. He's not a front man. You're looking for a weakness, something to get at him, to stop. I mean, if he's using a Scion, kill the Scion.
He'll just get more.
Yeah, we just want to know basically everything there is to know about him at this point. We don't know what we don't know about him. Does that make sense?
A lot of the creatures you're talking about. King in Yellow. Cthulhu. Lilith. These creatures aren't even necessarily aware of you. You're an ant on the sandpile that they're building. Not all of them care. I would say a very few care. Whatever war he's brewing, it's just for his entertainment and his fun. That's the basis of this. Unless he's made the rest of them care. In which case, then we couldn't possibly understand why or what would come through his... Are you am I going too fast? I'm sorry.
I'm just waiting for it to get somewhere, really. Like, you're just talking about these things that we can't fathom, that, like, don't care about us.
Well, that's the point, though. That's the point. They don't care about... That's the point.
No one cares about anyone.
He drifts over to you, Charles, grabs you by the ears and says, you can't fathom him.
Okay.
Any of them. So what you're trying to fight is impossible to stop. Do you understand? Do you get me? You are fighting, you are lashing out striking at an infinite cosmos, hoping to hit something. When you do, you think it might hit back. It doesn't even notice you. You're not even a flea, a tick that bites its skin. You aren't.
Arturo, I don't think you realize that we don't care. We're going to keep doing it regardless.
Releases Charles and kind of drifts back over to his couch. You want to stop this for whatever reason. You want to go up against the unfathomable, the unknowable. Then you are a braver man than most. Kill his Scion. Unearth. Gather allies. Make it so everyone knows who the real enemy is. Because there were things before dragons that they don't even know about. Things that lurk beyond divine realms. That didn't get to be banished. It couldn't be banished. They just got bored.
I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Gregor, looking mildly, not concerned, just tense. Our time here is going to need to come to an end. I'm going to go back inside. You should accompany me.
Okay. Something you know I don't?
While you are guests here, as I said, these are tense times. We should see how your friends are faring with Arturo. And I will turn about and walk back into the cave.
I follow.
Understood. Majin Arturo continues. You want them to see but not see. Does that make any sense? You can't have them look too close. The only thing they can know is that they're an enemy. Either way, he's going to win, okay? If they don't know about him, they can't fight against him. If they know about him, they'll look too close. That's what gods do. They meddle and intervene and poke where they're not supposed to, and then we're truly doomed. Dragons, gods, none of that will matter. Titans, God. Specs, you want to find that sweet spot, that little minuscule place where a god can sit and know his enemy and fight, but not see behind the curtain. You need to convince them that there is a sweet spot and stop them from raging and gathering force. Look at the Greeks. Infighting and petty squabbles nonetheless, but when titans rise, they gather, they amass, and they destroy and march forward with a fervor that will shake your world.
I see we've come to the nihilistic sermon part of the conversation.
You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
The eventuality of this is irrelevant. Do you all have the information that you need?
I mean, he's just been telling us that it's fruitless and that, like, we can't understand.
I think, in his own way, I think that is really the answer that you need.
Arturo kind of looks down, whispers, I'm trying to help.
I know. The reason I wanted you to speak to him wasn't because I knew that he could provide you with an Achilles heel for this enemy that you're seeking. I wanted you to understand the scope of what you're up against.
To understand what it could do to us.
To understand that because you are not gods, because you are not dragons, that there are tools at your disposal that it would not occur to them to utilize. There are positions that you can take that they cannot, which is why you're Scions. It's the glory of your freedom. You're not bound by purpose. You're not bound by essence or elemental need.
He,
You can
Arturo drifts, kind of. I would say that most people looking at it would just see him kind of fruitlessly swimming in a circle around you guys. Royal, you knew him when he was whole. You knew him when he was complete. He's not just fruitlessly drifting. He's now almost hunting. He's glance over, his eyes are fixed on Gregor. He's investigating.
my eyes kind of fleet between him and Gregor. I won't make any moves. But I will just kind of continue massaging the situation, and I will say, if he's provided you with any insight as to what actions you might take, consider the ramifications of them and what I can do to help you. But we should excuse ourselves and leave the divine realm behind.
Well, I was already kicked out, so...
No
Sorry.
chance you'll tell me your name now, stranger?
Why does it matter?
I don't know, Gray, why does it matter? Why does that one matter?
If I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't have to be on this quest with him, would I?
Fair. Thank you for the coffee. I'm sorry I couldn't be more help. He brushes, now completing another circle, one last circle, as he swims by Gregor over your right shoulder. Closer than you would have liked, closer than he did make his circles before. MAJIN, Charles, I would say Royal as well. You see him, the process of him scenting the divine as he passes over Gregor. Stops in front of his couch. Back to you all. And is just still.
Checks to make sure he didn't pickpocket me.
All of your belongings appear to be there.
Okay.
We know the way out.
What have you seen?
He doesn't turn to face you. When he speaks and says, "More than you, cousin."
Perhaps a conversation for another visit requiring a separate tribute. Please.
All right, cousin.
Well, thanks for having us, Arturo. Nice meeting you.
Where are you in the family tree?
Demeanor immediately changes, looks to you, Charles, turning very swiftly and just, "Bye, little sea monkey. Visit again soon." Drifting coffee into his mouth, he kind of sinks back into the couch, ignoring your question, Gregor.
There are some questions that have less to do with your quest that should not be asked at this time, Gregor. Don't spook him.
I disagree. I disagree. And with that, I will
Then-
relent.
With that, what I will say then, if you choose to engage, I can't stop you. But it's going to be on his terms.
I'm going to relent.
I'm gonna say something before I leave. Arturo, You have a last name?
Perez.
Mr. Perez?
Arturo's fine.
Oh, like the detective.
Yeah, we killed the Perez.
We didn't kill him. He got away.
Did he? All right, besides the point,
Yeah.
look. Everybody got a choice, and like you said, this is going to be inevitable. And the time is going to come where you have to make that choice. To pick a side or to sit there and just let the inevitable happen.
I'm going to stop you right there. I've started wars. I've stopped them. I've quelled whole riots by taking a well-placed shot. I'm good. And it's not my role. I don't think I would represent our family. Looks over to you, Gregor. Very well at this point in my life.
Who cares?
You want an ambassador?
I'm not
There he is.
asking for ambassadors. All I'm saying is you said there's people. What we want people that look behind the scene and still retain what they want, what they need. People like you, people like us, Ted. People who've seen what's real and decides to make their choice still. You're part of that.
I don't think he is.
Also, not a sermon he hasn't heard before.
Yeah, well
delivered, though. I applaud you. Couldn't have said it better
I'll tell
myself.
you the same thing I tell Gray. You want so desperately to have a warrior that understands? Peek behind the curtain yourself.
Well, I've seen Gregor's dad.
Yeah, well, that's it. The only regret I would have is if I didn't say that.
Sinks back into the couch.
I will open a door in the hall. Please.
Leaves.
I'll go through the door.
Before I walk through and shut it, I will look back to Arturo.
He's watching you. He's sit up on his couch and is kind of looking at the door, looking at you guys leave. He's got a sad smile on his face as he makes eye contact.
Keep your gun loaded.
Always. Gestures toward the water around.
Yeah, I slide through the door.
You guys re-emerge wherever you would like, Gray.
It's going to be their room, the room that I got for them. When we go through, I will let the monkey off my shoulder. Okay, well, I apologize if that wasn't as fruitful as you would have liked, but I had my suspicions. And if Arturo is spooked, then I am no less concerned.
Royal.
The rings?
As well, as you collect the rings, I want to highlight, before you had suspicion, now you have confirmation with Arturo calling Gregor cousin. You know what he is.
It's not my business. I take the rings. It really is a marvelous place, the Divine Realm, but they're not used to getting surprise visitors, so I didn't want to invite any undue attention.
It was really pretty.
I enjoy it from time to time. I sit down and let them chat. Call room service.
Call room service. There's scarcely time to chat, as there's noise outside the door. You recognize the sound of Marcel barking orders at security. Get down there now. No, he's not a planned speaker. I don't care. Get down there now.
Why something? Excuse me.
Sounds like something fun is happening.
Yeah, we'll stand
Charles,
up.
please don't jump out the window.
We'll go over to the door and open it.
Marcel's on the phone. He looks to you rather quickly and says, I'll call you back. Someone has crashed Ravenous-Con.
Someone?
We have semi-live footage. We have a bit of a delay. He's fucking with the feed.
It's not another Joe Swoll, is it?
No. More concerning.
More concerning?
Pulls out his phone, holds up the feed on Twitch that is streamed to the tier 3 subs. You see a young man in what looks like loose jeans, a very large yellow hoodie, darker skin, vitiligo staining the right corner of his face. He has the microphone. The individual that was meant to speak is laying on the ground next to him on the stage. Sort of just looks like he's painting with dirt, something dark. He says, you don't have to be confined to a dragon. What if there was more than that? There's no such thing as merciless. It's such an aggressive term, especially for today's culture. You can be powerful without pushing down others. You can raise your fellow man up. You don't have to be a dragon. Dragons are meant to be slayed. You can be anything. You are a being of stardust and of the cosmos and unfathomable power. You are beyond great and good and dragons.
I think this is one of yours. I will kind of wave at the group and
God damn
from
it,
the
Phil.
door.
Is it Donnie?
No, it's Phil. You don't hear that
Sidestepping
voice.
to go over his
Notably, Gray, your fans very rarely, especially with the incident back in Scotland, I believe, your fans have proven to be quite loyal. Anyone who kind of takes the stage and takes away the show, they're not really keen on that. They're not moving, though. There's no effort from the security detail. There's no effort from the inhabitants of the convention hall. They're just watching.
I will I'll pop the feed back onto the TV in the room so everybody can see it.
The three of you
Is that below?
recognize-
Oh yeah, that's the convention center. It's downstairs.
All right, let's go shoot and talk to Phil.
Is it on the bottom floor?
It is.
Don't go out the window, Charles.
Oh,
God,
absolutely going out the window.
Saying I'm chanting.
You see Charles begin to rush toward the
Last time this happened, I just
rushes toward the window. Majin, you chant. He takes that last leap, crashing through the glass. Charles, the pain is great. You seize, cannot stifle out the words to call your cloud. You begin to fall.
He made it out.
You begin to fall.
He made.
Charles,
I'm gonna fight.
many stories up. You try to fight through this pain. The rest of you wish to go toward the glass.
I go over to the window.
stop chanting.
very easily, you see Charles has fallen, approaching the ground very quickly. His cloud, when last we left it, was in the parking lot, sort of hanging in a parking space, I believe. Charles collides with the ground. There is
I
a
can let that happen.
flash. Royal, is there anything you'd like to do?
Well, I mean, if he's approaching the ground at like breakneck speed, he probably did this with intent. I don't think he's suicidal, so I'm wondering if maybe there's something amiss. So I want to give him another shot at it, basically. So before he hits the ground, he's going to fall through a hole and drop out of a hole at the balcony level again, so he can keep falling, just in case this is like some sort of thing he needs to do.
Okay. He fun with portals. He drops through this portal and says, you can see him kind of streak by, calling out. There's a sort of, almost like when a bomb drops a nuclear warhead, it doesn't necessarily make impact with the ground. It explodes just above. Charles erupts in this deep orange light. Sort of fades, shrinking back into him. Charles is no longer wearing his normal attire. And now on his back, sort of cloaked. Charles, if you would care to detail what your armor has taken the form of.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with it, it looks like the 4th Hokage's cloak, the Hokage cloak he wears. It's a short sleeve, open in the front, like down to the knees, just cloak. It has the long collar, and it's orange with blue flames around the base of it, and it's got the text on the back saying it says Raijin no Hiryu, or Thunder God of the Ice Dragon.
I'll point to the window. Is this normal?
It's 100% normal. That's how he gets places. I've had to replace the windows on the van several times.
Charles,
I'm walking out.
Continue
I'm
to
walking to the
fall,
elevator.
now having enough time to call your cloud. You can freely do so if you'd like.
I would absolutely adore to do so.
You fall through the space, you call your cloud, gripping on and landing, ready and flying off to wherever you may like. Gregor has marched out the door. MAJIN, Royal, you guys are left in this space.
Downstairs?
Yeah, I guess. Let me go get my gun real quick. I'll be back. And I'll go get my gun and walk out with Royal.
Yeah. I will put my gloved hand out.
MAJIN. You go to get your gun. I'll say, Royal, you imbued a knack and gave MAJIN a mark. MAJIN, you go to get the gun that was in progress, or rather has been in the process of being created. That same feeling, that tattooing feeling, begins to flare up as you take grip of it in your hand. It flares. The weapon seems to grow in size and is imbued with your power and the powers of those you have encountered, changing its form and shape. MAJIN, what does it look like now that it has reached its full potential?
I mean, if you're familiar with it, Trigun, it kind of looks like that. Yeah, it's a 6-shooter, big as fuck. Dark steel. Yeah.
Dark steel handgun, imbued with the powers of those you have allied yourself with. You pick it up, admire it for a moment. Truly a weapon that could slay whatever Phil is.
Yeah, I'll take I'm assuming the hand was for me to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'll take Royal's hand.
Yeah, we jump. We jump downstairs. Flip. No, we jump through space. Like,
Still, what the fuck?
there's kind of a hiss pop, and then we are basically like at the not at the stage, but at like the edge of the seating near the door. Like we come kind of through the door.
Excellent. You guys arrive here. Charles arriving very shortly, very swift on the cloud. Gregor rushing downstairs. We get a smash cut of just kind of like you guys leaping through space. Charles flying through space and bursting through the doors, and Gregor in the elevator just like.
No, it's less impatience. It's more.
Did he have to wait for the elevator to come up?
Well, he decided to take the elevator, so I couldn't really help him.
You guys see Phil. The crowd is kind of like cheering, but in unison in sort of this mechanical, sort of inhuman rhythm. It looks to the three of you, Charles, Majin, and Royal. I suppose I have all of you to thank for these lovely gifts. Don't believe we've been acquainted.
I don't remember seeing your name on the ticket.
Surprise guest, we'll say.
And your name is, so I can put it on the banner?
I'm a lot like, you can just call me Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Same as before, gentlemen. Looks to you, Majin and Charles.
Here to save you, Phil.
There it is.
I'm here to kill you.
There it is.
I will activate Fearless Presence so that my followers of lesser tier are fearless and do not panic or flee. And I will look to the crowd and I will say, there is no panic here. There is only a calm exit for you. You should leave now.
Excellent. Phil's gonna have to make a clash of wills in order to keep control of this crowd. So
Bring it, Phil.
Interesting. I love it. You are with your followers. A good portion of your followers do return, Royal. I would say about maybe over half the room. The ones closest to Phil remain, and they kind of turn. The other ones kind of look around a bit confused. Some of them kind of take your advice and begin to exit.
I believe I didn't make myself very clear. I will then spend for Draconic Majesty. And I'm going to use on my command to make this a matter of scale. Get out now. And when I say it, my dragon voice is what comes forth. And there's probably like a flare of wings and almost like whiskers and hair, scales, teeth.
Majin Charles, you see once more the form of the coiled serpent, Royal Gray. The Gray Eminence himself makes an appearance. You feel the voice that matches the figure push outward.
Scale gives me what, +2?
Mm-hmm.
Is that +2? That's just +2 successes, right?
Just straight up 2 successes.
Okay, so I'm clashing with 8 right now.
Excellent.
And again, my instructions are just to the crowd. I don't give a shit about Phil.
Excellent, excellent. In that case, they begin to run. The few that have remained by Phil's side, and he says, "It's not very nice, Gregor. You arrive at this time, kind of coming through the front doors." Mike still in hand. Phil looks out to the four of you and says, "Old habits die hard, I guess. That's what we're here for, to break old habits. Let's get it out of our system, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, feel free."
Phil's audio.
Drops the mic. "Be merciless." His remaining followers begin to rush. And that is where we will close today's session. Scion Godsend. We thank you for joining us. Absolutely wild. We got some new reveals. We got some stuff. Wild. Absolutely wild.
Absolutely wild.
I'll ask, short-term deeds.
Yeah, I think we reached an accord with the whole deal with Royal and everything.
So we got one from Charles. Gregor?
Mine was to figure out what this guy wants.
There it is.
Apparently, just a non-aggression pact.
MAJIN?
Lying.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot to change it. So, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Understood. Royal?
Mine was to spoon feed Gregor a ton of valuable, informative, contributive information about what we do here at the Gray Company.
I would say that's very well succeeded. MAJIN...
Oh,
go on.
no, that's all I had.
MAJIN, forgetting to change out the short term, I'll give you this as a freebie. Since 3 of the 4 of you succeeded, by all means, we'll count it as everyone succeeded in their short term deed. Because
I feel like completing his gun would have been a big deal, right?
I would say that's.
I mean, that's my long term.
That is your long term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fantastic. We have some XP to distribute. We'll do so behind the scenes. Outstanding. And again, I'm excited because I don't usually have people to shill their things alongside me. Royal Gray, who are you? Where are you? What do you do?
Hi, my name is Alex, playing Royal Gray, the reincarnated Gray Eminence. I am a filthy casual who continues to plague both the Onyx Path, Story Path channels repeatedly, haunting people's feeds, and now I have managed to become a boil on Gilbert's ass excitedly. I'm also a at this point 2 weeks out from being a certified personal trainer, and I'm currently training my dog to dive docks aggressively as his qualifiers are up soon. You can catch me on the Twitter at Team LECO. It's at Team LECO. And that's about it for me.
LEKO?
CO.
CEO. I don't have a fancy button I can push, so I was just typing that in.
That's fine. Yeah.
Excellent. Anyone else before I shill?
I don't exist.
There it is.
Edge Survival does.
MAJIN, Charles, anything?
Jury Auto Art.
Yeah.
Edge Survival.
Jury Auto Art. You can find me at Twitter at Jury Auto Art. Right now, I'm working on an intermission screen for the Scion cast. So we'll see how that goes.
That is Giriauto_art. I'm putting it in the chat now. MAJIN.
Yeah, I don't really do nothing. Just play. But you could catch me here, you know, or later tonight on the Rolling Nomads. Yeah, Sundays and Fridays.
Excellent, excellent. And we do appreciate everyone who's played. We do appreciate Giriauto Art working on that banner, that sort of start screen art piece that we can look at and see all of our people all fancy and drawn out in living color. As for us as a whole, we of course are the Rolling Nomads. You can find us over on our channel, twitch.tv/rolling nomads. Wow. Where, we stream, just like Edge Survival said. We stream every Friday, 5:30. We are taking a little bit of a break to get some life stuff in order. But normally we stream every Friday, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Vampire the Masquerade Sabbat Chronicle. You can find us 2 hours from now, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, over on our channel, where we're streaming what was our first Chronicle, Thy Kindred Come, which is on Season 3, and coming to a very swift, terrifying, and dark close at the end of this season. I'm very excited to see where that goes. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/rollingnomads, where we upload every Tuesday and Thursday. Scion episodes get uploaded every Tuesday. Book of Saints, our Sabbat Chronicle, gets uploaded every Thursday. Switch that, reverse it. Yeah, and that's where you'll find all the episodes where you can catch up and all that good stuff. You can find us on Twitter and keep up to date with our schedule changes over on twitter.com under the name @_Rolling Nomads. Myself, I am Ramos. Found everywhere @Ramos the Nomad. That's TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, where I do all my things under all the same name. With that being said, I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you that watched. We'll discuss, I hope Royal will make an appearance next Sunday, but we'll hash that out. That's all I got, and we appreciate you guys very much. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Same time, same place, same science.